Hey now, it's Ruben with Help Find the Others. Um, Always grateful for anyone that shows up when I do a live stream, watches the videos, definitely gives a thumbs up, all that stuff. I see there's a couple of you in here now. Um, I I always apologize for not having podcast episodes and uh, videos uploaded, and I make quite a bunch of videos, but I'm very critical of myself. And stumble over my words, and I'm usually like, oh, I should have put that in there. And it'll take me like 3 times to record a 30-minute rant about something. And if I don't like it on the 3rd time, I usually end up not uploading it. And so it's easy, and it's kind of out of laziness to just click go live and do a live stream. But I also like the interaction and stuff like that. But I mainly do these live streams as a way to record a video, and I kind of, I'm editing it on the fly in my head kind of thing. So thanks for everyone that shows up and comments. D. Lars, good morning. Malarkey, morning, exciting times. Yeah, so that the exciting times, I think you're talking to, the financial situation going on in the stock market and media and stuff like that. And that is what I wanted to talk about, but more, I wanted to explain the situation to the weirdos, right? I wanted to explain the situation to people that don't pay attention to money in the finance world and stuff like that, because we've reached this point now where we're at the revolution point of everything. Why I talk about money and when I started talking about money was seeing this moment coming. This is the turning point. And everything's involved in that. This started, it started back when, the government entity that rules over us said, hey, we don't like this plant, and we're going to have a man with a gun put you in a cage if you have this plant in your pocket. It started there, and this revolution should have happened there. All the way through the psychedelic, revolution in the 60s, when they made that illegal and used all the tactics they made to make Timothy Leary public enemy #1, stuff like that. The revolution should have kept going there, but it didn't, And then, there's other things. I'm not going to go through every moment where we should have rose up against the system. But this year, to take that into context, no matter how you feel about the Trump versus Biden arguments, debates, riots, attacks, whatever terminology you want to use, that whatever your chosen media stream has told you happened around the inauguration of Joe Biden. What followed afterwards, and the censorship, through mainstream social media, to creating their own platform, and that platform just getting kicked off the internet. That led to what has happened now with GameStop stock. And it is all related, and I'll try to wrap this all up into my my thesis of everything decentralized. But so to explain the GameStop situation, okay. So even if you don't invest your money, and look back at all of my other rants about that, I think we're at a point in time where you have to. Saving money is losing money. And you have to invest it and find a way to make your money work for you. You have to find other income streams. That is the only way to really, if you find yourself having not the financial freedom that you would like to help you grow, that's how to do it. Look back to that. I'm not going to get into that discussion. But even if you don't invest money or whatever, I'm guessing at this point you have heard something about GameStop stock. And I'm guessing you understand that, you can buy stock and then wait for it to go up and sell it and make a profit. And that's what people try to do. But the stock market is much more complex than that. And there is also stuff called options. And what options contracts are is a bet on the future price of a stock. And so a short option is where you actually, I mean, there's a lot of mechanics behind this, but you actually borrow the stock at the price it is today. So say GameStop stock was $10 and you borrow it, but you think it's going down to 5. So you sell it to someone at 10, but you have to give back whoever you borrowed that stock from. You have to give it back to them at a certain date. And you're hoping that at that date, it's lower than what you sold it for. So you get the profit of the difference of however many shares it is. Okay. There's nothing illegal about doing that. I think it's kind of, it can lead to bad things. But it's what makes markets work. You know, all markets, all life works on bulls versus bears. There's optimists and pessimists. You know, you can use those terms for bulls versus bears. But the problem is that every market works that whoever is playing with the most money is going to move the market more. And so there's these things called hedge funds. And what hedge funds are funds where people put in money, they invest money with someone else, and they pay them, like they get a salary out of the fund, out of the profits of the fund, to invest their money for them. Okay. And so it's rich guys, but it's also retirement funds. Your 401k is probably invested in some hedge funds. They're a big part of the system. And so if you go back to last year, I think it was, early on last year, I think it was April, maybe. I can't remember the certain date, but GameStop is a dying industry. It's the next Blockbuster, right? If any of you play video games, you just stream them or download them straight from your Xbox, your PlayStation, whatever. And it's, it's a dying industry. They got rid of their CEO. They hired a new guy who had all these ideas of how to revamp and save the brick and mortar franchise and go into other things and stuff like that. And so at that same time, when they the overall market response to the new CEO was, this company's bad, it's going down, just real negative stuff about, they're going to die. This is a terrible company. They're, whatever. Anyone who has stock in them is an idiot. Okay. And so someone on Reddit, I think his username was Deep Fucking Value, who partakes in a stock trading subreddit called Wall Street Bets, realized and probably liked GameStop and didn't want to see them go under, and probably was excited about the CEO coming in or whatever, and was like, why is there so much hate on this? And started looking into it. And because of, hedge funds have to, because they have so much other people's money invested in them and they're so tied in, they do have to disclose somewhere, what their positions are, and contracts they have and the trades they do. Okay. But it's kind of similar to, if anyone knows, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they blow up the Earth, but they're like, well, we told you the plans, they were on display in the, in Galaxy 47B or whatever it was. That's kind of how it is. It's not like they make a public announcement that they're making these moves. They're posted in different exchanges, and you have to find out, and you have to know what you're looking for and where to look for it, but you can find out what they're going to do. So he looked and he noticed that this one hedge fund, and a lot of them were shorting the stock, because that's what you do with a company that's going to die if you're a short seller. But he noticed that this one company was naked short. And what naked short means is that you are betting with more, because you want the profit from the difference in the price, like I was saying. But the thing is, you're actually dealing with the actual stock. You have to settle the bet with the actual stock. And they were betting, naked shorting is betting with more than there is stock available. So that if they won the bet and they paid back all of the stock, they can't, because there isn't enough shares to pay back their bet. And I don't know the law enough. I see a lot of people say it's illegal. I've had some people tell me it's not illegal. I don't know. It should be if it's not. And if it is, it's what just happened, is a criminal act. But anyway, so this guy noticed that. And this was a very long play that led up to right now. He noticed it and started buying the stock and started talking about it. And then once he got to a position that he wanted, he made a lot of money off of this. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't all, to try to, it wasn't all altruistic or whatever. But he then started telling everyone that he'd like check out the short squeeze opportunity. So a short squeeze is when people that either believe in the asset or want to screw over the people or don't agree with the tactics of the people that are shorting it, you buy the stock to make it go up instead of down like this person's betting against. And all of these short sale contracts have like a date where they're going to be done and they have to pay that back. If it goes up, as it gets farther and farther away from the price that they borrowed it at, they have to keep paying money because the person who borrowed it is starting to think like, you're not going to be able to pay that bet. You're not going to win this bet. Like it's looking pretty bad. So all along the way, until that date, they're losing money because they have to pay to service basically a debt to whoever they borrowed the stock from. But then they can also double down and keep getting more short contracts and be like, okay, now it's at 150, but I think it's going to go down to 100. And so they just keep digging a hole. So that's called a short squeeze because the people are pushing the price up to make the person who's trying to get it to go down, to make them to lose their money, because then that resistance to make it go down is gone and the price of an asset can go up. And this has nothing to do with the business. It's not like GameStop is doing good business. They're probably doing, just as bad as they were last year. This hasn't changed anything. However, their company last year was worth $500 million. And then like this week, it's been like $20 billion is what the company's been worth. So anyway, this guy says, short squeeze complete, I think is what, started this whole thing. And then people just started buying the stock. And, the key thing here is this is all retail investment. Robinhood is the app that most people use to trade stocks. And it's a free app. There is no trading fees. Like a lot of, if you're on a lot of brokerages and trading stuff, like there's a fee for every trade you make. So, you have to take that into account. Robinhood, the way they cover that is the pricing of their stock is a little higher than it actually is in real life. So you are paying the fees because you're paying a premium on the stock. But for the most part, you can trade back and forth and go crazy just like a crypto market. Everyone's on Robinhood buying the stock. And Robinhood, they've been around about 5 years. And even the name Robinhood is, they wanted to like let stock trading and speculation, be in the hands of the people and that profit potential be, for people and instead of the rich, which is the hedge funds. Well, so I believe today, I don't know the exact dates and stuff, but I believe today is like at the end of the day is when, the contract is up for this hedge fund that was doing the shorts. And so this is really the judgment day because everybody has been buying the stock. But what happened yesterday is Robinhood suspended trading of GameStop stock and the other stocks that they were talking about on Reddit. And, the whole thing was this snowball of like, let's pump everything. And they're all on Robinhood doing this. And so GameStop and with, your typical message of, for your safety, for the safety of the investor, we've suspended buying of these stocks, which are the stocks that they pumped that they're talking about on Reddit. They also shut down the Reddit page because of hate speech. And I saw articles come out saying, there's all these alt-right people on Reddit that are buying GameStop stock to try to crash 401ks. And like just there's this whole smear campaign. That didn't work. So then the next thing was they shut down the exchanges. They didn't stop trading, though. They just stopped you from being able to buy. The sell button still worked. So when stock is being sold, the price goes down. When it's being bought, the price goes up. Because as it's selling, people are like, you're trying to, you're seeing it's, you're still in the profit or something, and it's like $10.50 for the stock, and you really want to sell it because you're worried it's going to crash. And you see like the lowest price people are selling it for is $10.50, and you'd be like, I'll sell it for $10.40. I don't care about the 10 cents. So you sell it, and then there's this cascading effect. Everyone does that, so the price goes down when stock gets sold. And people were upset about Robinhood, and they want to get out, but they want to get their money out. Obviously, they're not just going to abandon it with money in there. So everyone's selling it, and it went down. And I think it went down to a point where like the hedge fund isn't going to lose everything, but other hedge funds got involved here. So the original hedge fund was Melvin Capital, and they earlier this week lost all their money. They didn't have enough to cover what they were going to owe for the stock going up. And so another hedge fund bailed them out, gave them $3 billion more. This was a $3 billion hedge fund that went like that, and all that money just is gone because they're just paying it back into this whole system. It's just, it's energy. Like I believe money's energy, and it just never goes anywhere. It just kind of transforms into other shit. Right. Well, that's what happened. And another hedge fund's like, here, we'll float you this, and gave them $3 billion more. That was gone too. Okay. But here's what sucks about that situation. And again, I don't know the laws, but my understanding is this, that because that other hedge fund bought them out, they take all their other shares. They're basically, they're not just giving them money and saying like, here you go. Like now they own everything they own, except I don't believe that they owe any of that money of any other stock they had to the people that were invested in the hedge fund. They're just fucked. The hedge fund manager that was doing this, he's still going to get paid. He probably cashed his money out to make sure he's going to get another job somewhere else, right? But everybody that was like, oh yeah, I invest in Melvin Capital. They have a good strategy, and they return good returns. The reason they return good returns is because they manipulate companies that are already doing bad, and they limit their ability to raise their value, to raise capital, and keep them down. And then if they start to try to turn stuff around, they use the media to slam them to, ruin confidence in it, so they can't raise the capital to turn around the ship. And this is just happening with GameStop. I guarantee this is happening with lots of other companies. But anyway, so they filed for bankruptcy, which is another thing. They're not going to have to pay back any of the people that invested money in them. So that really fucking sucks right there. But then on the other hand, it really sucks that people that found this loophole and were exploiting it and trying to teach these hedge funds a lesson, they can just shut off, the ability for people to do that. And then when you start looking into it with Robinhood, they're owned by the hedge fund that bailed out the other hedge fund, is like either the main funding for Robinhood, or they're I can't remember, but they're tied into Robinhood somehow. It's a Citadel Research, who the vice president of the company was the vice president or the CEO of the company, or no, the portfolio manager of this hedge fund was the vice president of Lehman Brothers until 2008, which, if you don't remember, Lehman Brothers was the bank that was betting on the riskiest mortgages. They were just balls deep in the bad mortgage debt that crashed the economy in 2008. And this guy was the vice president of that fucking bank and that fucking financial institution for 10 years leading up to, one of the biggest economic crises in the world. And now he's fucking at the helm of somebody doing the same damn thing again. But Reddit and Twitter and the swarm of the internet brought this to light. And I don't know how it ends out. A lot of people became really rich off of this. they would cash out, but then still pump the price, with house money, basically. I think the hedge funds are going to get out of it with maybe just their losses, maybe a slap on the wrist. I do think this is criminal, but I don't think that anyone's going to go to jail over this. The SEC is probably looking into it. I saw they were looking into the Reddit group and stuff like that, but I don't know what's going to happen with it. Yeah, and Malarkey said they're pumping Doge too. So here's my problem with that. Well, it's not a problem because at the end of the day, all of this goes to Bitcoin. Because this is shown, everyone's always said, like, people that are into stock investing, they're like, yeah, Bitcoin's not backed by anything. Like, it's manipulated. It's, whatever. It's fake. It funds China and warmonger, whatever. All this stuff. I'll invest in safe stuff like stocks. Well, this moment here with GameStop, with Reddit, has shown, the curtain's been pulled back. The fucking stock market is just as fake, and probably more so. It's more manipulated. It has the power of the fucking U.S. government behind it. So as people start to digest all this and then look at Bitcoin and start looking at who's getting into Bitcoin, the companies that are getting built around Bitcoin, they're going to be like, well, fuck. At least this seems more honorable, at least they've been talking about the shit that just happened and they were right. So maybe they're right about the coin too. Maybe it's not a Ponzi scheme. Maybe it's a pyramid scheme for the people, and it'll just keep going. Like, people are going to start making these realizations and like you said about Doge, they're pumping that. That's where shit coins come in. I've said before, the evolution of a Bitcoiner is no coiner, shit coiner, Bitcoiner, whole coiner. As in you finally accumulated a whole Bitcoin. Okay. And you either do that by investing, a lot of money over time, or by understanding the cycles and buying at the bottom and knowing when it's going to be the bottom and stuff like that. But anyway, so the Doge thing is like, it's easy to pump. It's not revolutionary though. It's a joke. So the people that are going to win in that situation are, say they're trying to pump Dogecoin to $1. The people that are going to win in that situation were the people that were holding it anyway. The people that are going to lose in that situation is the guy that buys it at $1. There's no institutional revolution there. Okay. So yeah, it's like, okay, it's cool. It's going to be an introduction into shitcoinery and why Bitcoin's better, because all those people that have been holding Dogecoin, that the other people, the new people, are pumping it up. Those people are going to take their profits into Bitcoin. They're already doing it. Bitcoin's already up because of that. So all of this money, that money I said that like just went poof from the hedge fund, and it's floating around trying to find out where that energy is going to go. Like, eventually, over time, all of that is going to go back into Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now is the Pac-Man, and it's just eating up every fucking asset in the world. And whether there's, the discussion of like better tech winning out, and, is Bitcoin Satoshi Vision the real Bitcoin, and XRP scales better than Bitcoin, whatever technical stuff, that's fine. That discussion can be had at another date. That discussion will play out over the course of the evolution of the decentralized finance world. That will play out. Right now, the play is Bitcoin, and you can see that that's where the big money's going. And so altcoins will do well, shitcoins will do well. But when that day comes, that the bubble of everything that we're in right now, of real estate, stock markets, emerging market, like, everything's in a bubble because there's so much money printing going on around the world. And it's just that energy is just filling up in every area. When that pops, all that energy is going to come back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin will go down, but altcoins, everything else will go down harder, and it will take longer to fill back up and reinflate. So what else is that? So anyway, all of this leads back to my like theory of everything, of that, you know, the natural state that everything evolves to is decentralization. So you know, the like I mentioned about the conservative crowd being silenced on social media shows that like you're trusting this centralized entity to broadcast your free speech. But if that centralized entity doesn't like your free speech, it won't broadcast it. You know? And so like if there's decentralized stuff, I think this is where, you know, people that don't worry about this market stuff I was just talking about, but people that are worried about the free speech with politics and whatever, they're going to find these decentralized things. If you attack an army with your army and just hit head on, the stronger, bigger army wins. If you surround them and come at them from all different angles, you're going to find a weak spot. And, you know, I'm hoping, because if you look on social media, this thing that just happened with Robinhood and I mean, TD Ameritrade and E-Trade, all these people delisted these stocks that people were trying to buy to take down this hedge fund. If you look on social media, there is almost 100% people, 100% of people seeing eye to eye on this, instead of like where we're normally 50-50 and people are like, oh, you're full of shit. No, you're full of shit. Like my reality is the real truth. Like everybody right now is like, yeah, that sucks. You know, even if you're not involved, you're like, yeah, that's shitty. That is, the system is fucking rigged. And, you know, I'm hoping that this we can keep the pressure up. But we've shown this is what works. The fucking protesting, marching in the streets. It's good for unity and to feel like, yes, there's other people that believe in the morals and stuff that I have. But it doesn't do anything. They don't care. They care about their money. And we just took $14 billion from them or something. You know, they care about the money. There's going to be more change made from this as long as we keep it up. Unfortunately, they've got the regulators on their side, I feel like. And I think all it's going to come out of it is, you know, it's going to be harder to be a retail investor. They're going to put limits on that and stuff like that. I hope it's a situation, you know, like if you get in a fight with your brother and your parents send you both to your room, regardless of who was wrong or right, that, you know, it limits the ability and puts more transparency on the manipulation done by hedge funds and stuff like that. I hope that's the regulation that comes out of it. But nevertheless, we've scared them more in the last month doing this shit than however long Occupy Wall Street went on. Occupy Wall Street was, you know, a bunch of people, they fucked up a park. They didn't fuck up a bank, they fucked up a park. You know, to quote Doug Stanhope had a bit about this. I don't know if it's on one of his specials or if it was a bit he said when I went and saw him, but he's like, you know, you're fucking up the park and playing drums. He's like, if you want to fuck up the bank, everyone that's protesting Occupy Wall Street should go into the bank and apply for frivolous loans. And if we do that all across the country, that will bring them to their knees with, you know, dealing with all the paperwork. And I mean, he was right. And we've shown that, you know, they just fucked up. They just destroyed $1 billion financial entity by exploiting what they were doing and why it's wrong for the market more than any protest has ever done. And they did it with the click of a mouse and a keyboard. You know, and it shows because, like, it took 3 days of being mainstream news of people like being like, what's going on with GameStop or whatever, to where they fully did the internet ban thing that we saw with free speech regarding politics and stuff like that. And they didn't do it. They were unified but they were from all over. People from all over were buying this. So it shows that the strength of decentralization. And again, I think the further you unpack all of that and start to really realize what's going on and what the implications are, like it all roads lead to Bitcoin. You know, like the psychedelic road led me to Bitcoin. Now the stock trading road is going to lead people to Bitcoin. The free speech being hampered road is going to lead people to Bitcoin. The slavery of the two-party system, like regardless of if you were upset about the free speech, like there's a lot of people with this election that were really disenfranchised because, you know, it's like we need another person, like not just, you know, another flavor of ice cream. We don't just want chocolate or vanilla, like we want other flavors. Like that will lead to Bitcoin because of the decentralization nature, not the money, because money is enticing about Bitcoin. But the more you get into it, the more you read all the books that I read and talk about, the more that it's not about the money. The money is the first layer that gets you interested. It's the decentralization. And it's a natural state, I feel like, that societies you know, eventually it's, you know, I think like monarchies is a natural state for civilizations. They have kings and queens and whatever. I think that nation states and governments are a natural state. I think communism is a natural state. It's the evolution of humans in society. And we're always going towards something better. We're going towards where we're supposed to go. There's just different little, you know, things along the way that are necessary. There's ledges you got to get to pull yourself up to. And the nation state, the, you know, governments worked for a while, but they obviously don't work anymore. Central banks worked somewhat on the surface for a while, but they obviously don't work anymore. And so I think our governance can be decentralized. And I think we're heading towards that way. I think the internet can be the government. And our finances can obviously be decentralized. And Bitcoin has shown that. Now, there's all this other hubbub around it. And I'm not saying in the end, there will only be one cryptocurrency. But Bitcoin introduced blockchain, and blockchain, you know, introduced how like everything can be decentralized, and like everything's going to form around that, with the middle being Bitcoin, at least for the time being. But, you know, again, it's hard to like take the like money aspect out of that. But there is a bigger picture. Psychedelics play a part in that too. Okay. So like psychedelics, I've said before, they're decentralized thought, they're decentralized spirit. So for the longest time, you know, religion was government, and it was telling people what happened and how we got here and all that. And then as people, you know, became literate, spread out, had other, you know, met other people from other cultures, other religions, you know, we started to like decentralize our thought that way. And, you know, obviously you can do that, yourself, but you can speed it up by communing with other people, and also taking the psychedelic that decentralizes your thought like that for life. You know, and it's I'll write a book on this someday, but it's my theory of everything. And it's that, you know, as we move towards the great filter, and the great filter is like every civilization that starts from single cell organisms and gets to humans and then progresses on to what the next part is. There's a filter of you either colonize the rest of the universe and other planets and stuff like that, or you die enclosed in your own little smog-filled bubble. And so the great filter is getting to the next point. And I think that the decentralization and the shaking off the shackles that really limit growth in human society, and those shackles being the financial system, the political system, the religious dogma system, if we don't shed those shackles, we don't make it through the great filter. And so all of this stuff, all the decentralization that's figuring out how we transition from the industrial age to the information age, that's all part of shaking off those shackles. And decentralization is the way that happens. So I don't know if that made sense, but like I said, it's my thesis of everything decentralized that I will either compile as a book or be left as these videos on in hyperspace long after I'm gone. And the next generations will be like, hey, that fucking dude in the Bills t-shirt and the Ohio State mug was onto something. Aziz said, dude, you're awesome. I listened to your channel a ton last year for psychedelic insights. Loving the investing crypto talk. Yeah, I mean, I know I've lost a lot of people that came to hear trip stories, right? And I went through all that. All that's videos there. I don't need to keep hammering on that. And I've gone through these boom and bust cycles of psychedelics in my life to where like I need them for a long time, like I need to get the message. But like Alan Watts says, when you get the message, hang up the phone. And there's times in my life I need to hang up that phone. And the pandemic year, like I can't use psychedelics right now. And so and I kind of have the urge to, like, I'm like, oh, I wish I could be using psychedelics, but like also I'm really growing in other ways without them, and the crypto investing, like that's a big realization I've had. And I think why mushrooms told me about Bitcoin is that I've had massive amounts of debt. I've been so reckless with my finances for 15 fucking years. As soon as I got to college, I got a credit card and maxed it out, and it's just been downhill from there. And I was completely off grid, basically. Like I drove a car without insurance or registration for like 5 years. I was just out of the fucking system because of this debt and shit like that. And as I've grown, I'm still fucking punk rock. I'm still revolutionary. I've just realized that the best way to fight the system is from within the system. And so I've just really been focused on growing mentally, spiritually. And I didn't have financial freedom, and crypto has done that for me. I'll make a video pretty soon, but I'm a couple months away from being like fucking debt free other than a mortgage. And so I'll talk more about that later, but still I have to spread that message. I'm not doing psychedelics, so I don't have anything to talk about that. If there, like, when there's news and stuff like that, maybe I should make videos about like psychedelic advancements, because I pay attention to that. I love that. I love all the research and the treatment potentials and stuff like that. But as far as for me personally, like there, other than microdosing, it's not a part of my life right now, but I definitely think it should be a part of other people's lives. So I'll talk about it, but I don't have any trip reviews. And like, that's, if you look back at like videos I've made or podcast episodes I've done, like the ones talking about experiences do the most. Like that's what people want to come on YouTube and see. And so I know I've lost a lot of people by like talking about crypto and politics too much. But like, this whole thing, look back to like my first video, like my mission statement. I watched that a lot because I'm like, did I lose the mission? And I don't feel I have, because this whole thing's been about like gathering the tribe to fucking wake each other up and to grow and to better ourselves and to be more important, more powerful going forward, and to spread that network effect. And if you look on our Discord, we've done that. You can look back on so many people on there that are frequent posters. I know there's a lot of lurkers, but there's a handful of people that they're my fucking friends, and I would say that they think we're all fucking friends, and if we met in real life, like it wouldn't be weird. It would be like, fuck yeah, great to meet you in real life, but we're friends. We care about each other. I think about people, and stuff they're going through that I've never met in real life and may never meet in real life. And so that's what it's been about. And I've done that by just speaking whatever I feel like speaking about. I've never tried to, force a psychedelic topic. and I know I've lost a lot of people. I've received emails about that, and being like, or comments and stuff like that on videos where people are like, talk about drugs, man, or whatever. And I don't know. There was just at some point I got more inspired to be like, well, there's bigger things at play here, and I'm speaking to a more narrow audience, but what I have to say is more important than what I was saying to the larger audience. That's why I don't fucking. I don't know. I could put in time and be a psychedelic channel, right? And edit it and make it weird and monetize it and all that stuff. But like, that's not what it's about. So I'm man, if you started listening for my psychedelic insights, but you're loving the investing crypto talk, awesome. I'm glad you're still here. I'm super grateful for you and everyone that feels that same way. And when I do finally get back into psychedelic mode, like, you want to be here for that because it's going to be fucking epic, because like once I incorporate all this real world simulation, money is a game nonsense and figure all that out, but then I add the fucking third eye into that, it's going to be pretty fucking epic. I am looking forward to that. And once I'm like completely financially free and working on my mission, it's going to be fucking epic. I'm hoping people can hang on through my bullshit until that point. AR, we've been in uncharted simulation territory for some time now. Exactly. That's the thing. Anything's fucking possible. If you are unhappy with any part of your life, you can change it right fucking now, because they just showed on Reddit, like, even what people don't think is a game is still a fucking game, and it's rigged to make you think it's not a game, but it is. So, if you don't like the game that's playing and you can't change the rules, stop playing the fucking game, start your own game. John said, it's been a while since listened to some Help Find the Others. Welcome back. AR, what does the coffee mug say on it? Someone said, Ohio State national champs. This was the first year they did the 14 playoff thing. I don't know. I like growing up in Buffalo. I'm a diehard Sabres fan and a bandwagon Bills fan. Now, I've always been a Bills fan, but there were some hard years there for 20 years or so. And it was kind of embarrassing to say I was a Bills fan, but anyway, I've always been like a pro sports fan, and there's no, like, in Buffalo, people like colleges. If you like college sports, you like colleges that aren't near Buffalo, like Penn State or Syracuse or those are the two biggest that you would see. But regardless, I just never was like a college sports fan. St. Bonaventure basketball, that's a college that's actually in the town I went to high school in. A lot of my friends went there. I worked there for a summer. They're Division I basketball, and they're in the tournament sometimes. They're never going to win it or nothing, but they're a decent team, so I would root for them. But it's kind of like a losing proposition to root for them because they're never going to win a national championship or whatever. So when I moved to Kentucky and Ohio, people were like UK basketball fans and Ohio State football fans. And so just from my friends that I've made since I've, moved half my life ago, was like, yep, I'm those fans too, so I root for UK basketball and Ohio State football. And I pay attention more to the football because I don't really watch basketball other than the March Madness tournament. So I'm a big Ohio State fan. I haven't watched them this year, but and I don't watch like every game or anything like that, but they're big games and stuff like that I watch. And I pay attention to their players in the NFL and stuff like that. But this was a great season. This was Cardale Jones and like they lost their starting quarterback, and then this guy came in and just had this epic playoff run. But anyway, I'm I'm losing people again. If I didn't lose you with the crypto talk, I'm definitely going to lose you with the sports talk. Real money is edible. Real money is edible, or you can live on it, like land, right? So that's the ultimate goal. And that's my mission with financial freedom is be able to add to the land that I already own up in New York, to create an infrastructure there to be able to share that with people that don't have the experiences that I have there. And in a nonprofit way. I don't know if anyone watched our last live stream where I was talking about where I'm really like narrowing in my vision for creating a camp. It's going to be, nonprofit. I have to figure out the full focus of that and then file and start the paperwork for that and everything. But to also be self-sustainable on that land over time, farming, animal husbandry of some sort, take it off the power grid, stuff like that. That's what I want to turn Bitcoin into. I'm not a Lambo bitch. I'm not, I want to be able to afford vacations or extended travel. I want to live van life for a little bit. And so Bitcoin will allow me to do that. But like, I don't want a private jet and a fancy car. Like I want land and food and self-sustainable life. I want no shackles, and I want to be able to share that with as much people as possible. So that is real money. That's the end goal of real money. Real money isn't an account. It's a spot. It's freedom. Real money is freedom, and food and land are freedom, and the ability to produce food yourself is real freedom. Matt said, I appreciate you going into this topic. Imagine you're talking about crypto, but thanks. Abandon the corporate overlay. I would read that book. What book were you talking about? Oh, the book I said I was going to write. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I'll get into writing when I'm not a dad. I don't know how I have one book I started writing. And honestly, I don't know, who's in here from the Discord, but Rich, Cancer Merchant on the Discord, he's been writing a book forever. And he's very structured and disciplined about it and still take it forever. And I am not structured or disciplined at all. And I was like, I just had like one word thing that was 20 pages long of just, and I was talking about like psychedelic parenting. And I quickly realized like to structure that into a book, I do not have the time or patience to do right now. But at some point, I have a lot of book ideas and I'm good at spitting out word salad. I think at some point I will need like a co-author or something like that can organize shit and just let me fucking flow. But I do want to write shit. Being a dad or mom, any parent, being a parent, like it just takes so much energy from every other aspect of your life that you would need. And like, it's so hard to put any energy out, and so like, as much as I don't want to see my kids grow up, like I am eager for that to happen so that I could really, I'm very motivated to do things, but I'm motivated to do this and not really put in any work. And once I'm motivated to do the work, I think I'll get a lot of the things done that I say I'm going to do, but I don't know. I've never been this old before, and so like, I don't know if that's just like, that's what it is of being old. You're always like, man, I wanted to do that. Didn't have time. Oh, I wanted to do that. Didn't have time, And so, I don't know if a lot of things I talk about will just stay there as possibilities and roads that I could have gone down and I won't, but I don't know. I do want to write books. I do, but then I also don't know, like, are books a thing in the future? I don't know. I hope they are. How's the Sovereign book going, Rich? It's awesome. There's like moments where it's fucking really good. I think you would like it a lot better. I get lost a lot, and it's like it's very much like Guns, Germs, and Steel, and it's like a lot. If you read Guns, Germs, and Steel, it's like the cliff notes on that. It's like the like someone's like idea of like what Guns, Germs, and Steel meant from a political, economic evolutionary standpoint. And so there's a lot of stuff that's in it that I'm like, I feel like I've already read this before, or whatever. But then it like has some moments where it's like kind of equating that to current times, but those current times were 20 years ago. And then when you equate it, reading it to current times now, you're like, holy shit, and you realize everything's a fucking cycle. We've done all this shit before. There's just fancier lights right now. But other than that, like we've been through all this fucking shit before. Like on a societal level and the give and take of power and stuff like that, and it isn't until you realize like that cycle that you can fucking act accordingly. And, I think that's where the whole book's going. I'm only halfway through it. I'm also studying for this arborist exam for utility specialist. And like, I probably should do that first before I start reading about how, the internet's going to become the government of the world and stuff like that. But it's a great book. And as soon as I am done with it, and maybe even, I don't know, I might just come hang out with you and give you the book, and you can get it back whenever after you'll read it in like a week, where it'll take me another 2 months to finish it. Which crypto exchange do I recommend? Well, first off, I don't recommend trading crypto. I recommend buying and holding Bitcoin. And I recommend doing that every way possible. So Swan Bitcoin is what I use to I have it set $100 every week, no matter what. I don't even think about it. I don't even look. I don't know how much is in there. I don't know. Like just $100 every week. Once, like I said, that I'm going to be out of debt in a couple months. Once I'm not paying down that debt, I'm going to up that Bitcoin amount to 50% of my paycheck. So every week, like that's how much I believe in Bitcoin. Bigger purchases, I like Square Cash. A lot of people don't like them. I fully recommend in the Strike app by Zap. It's a little confusing, but it seems to have pretty low fees, and it's like instant like that. But to make the best of that, you need another wallet, like I use Exodus wallet. That's like a desktop wallet, or if you have some sort of hardware wallet, that's the best option too. So with the Strike app, you can send it straight. You can take money out of your bank account right away, and it looks just like a payment app, Venmo, PayPal, stuff like that. And when you hit send, it uses a QR code. You do the QR code from your Bitcoin wallet, and you send the money there, and it shows up in the other wallet as Bitcoin, and has like a $2 fee. I think it's $2.61, no matter how much you send. So if you send a little bit, the fee's high. If you send a lot, the fee's low comparatively, but as far as exchange trading for other cryptos, say you want to get Ether, I think that, if you're going to get into the altcoin game, Ether's probably the safest bet there. There's other ones, but you're playing the market then at that point. You're speculating. I'm not speculating on Bitcoin. Like I've dove in, I'm in, right? That's it. I try to find an argument for why that shouldn't be where I store the energy of money that I create. And I can't find a compelling argument to not do it. That isn't just fear. That isn't, yeah, that's stupid. It's fake. It's not based on anything. It can't scale. Better tech will win out. Whatever. I go down those rabbit holes. I really fucking try to like be like, okay, why should I have another cryptocurrency? Why should I be invested in the stock market? Why should I have gold? Why should I just save cash like everyone else did before me? And as far as I analyze that for hours on end, the buy and hold dollar cost average Bitcoin method makes more sense. And I'm a very logical, critical person. But so I'm sorry, got off on a Bitcoin maximalist rant there, but crypto exchanges, Binance, USA, it depends. Do you want to pay taxes on your trades? Which trading crypto for crypto is a taxable event. Buying it is not. Selling it is. Okay. There's ways around that I don't want to get into, but if you don't want like a tax reported or a taxable event reported to the IRS, and then you have to figure out and do the forms and stuff like that, I recommend not trading crypto. But if you use any US exchange, they're going to report all their trades, and you better pay your taxes. And if you hold the crypto for more than a year, it's like 15% in taxes, which Biden has talked about raising that. We'll see how that goes. I don't think anything will come of that. But if you don't hold it for a year and you trade it, you're on the hook for 40% of that. You have to give to the government. So trading crypto, unless you really already know how to trade and you're good at that, and you're going to make a big profit, I don't think that's a good idea. But if you want to buy and hold stuff, buy Binance. I recommend, if you're holding a crypto, an altcoin long term, get it off an exchange and into one of those wallets I talked about. Binance is good. Also within wallets, they'll have exchange stuff, which is a little like, so in Exodus, you can exchange. The fees are higher, but your name isn't attached. Your IP address is, but your name isn't attached to those wallets. So it's semi-anonymous trading if you didn't want to pay taxes. But hey, that's another discussion. But yeah, I would just deal with Binance. That's kind of the go-to. If you don't want a US based one and you want to be somewhat anonymous, KuCoin is basically the same thing as Binance, but it's, in China or something like that. Like, their app is the exact same thing. But you don't have to use your name, and you can use a burner email account and stuff like that. Pog7. Hey, what's up, dude? Glad to finally join the live stream. Awesome. Make sure, I see there's like 20 people in there. Make sure you guys all hit the thumbs up. There's only 60. You hit the thumbs up. AR said, come visit Portland. Dude, I would love to. I was there when I was a kid. One of the best trips of my life was we flew to Seattle and then rented a motorhome and drove down the coast to San Francisco. And I hope to do that with my kids at some point. They fucking suck though. So like they wouldn't enjoy it. Like once the iPads wore out, they aren't like us when we were kids, man. You used to have to look out the window. Kids these days can't look out the window. But no, anyway, we went through Portland. Like, that's not on the coast, right? Yeah. So yeah, we went through there. I fucking love Oregon. Like, my wife and I, like, before we had kids, talked about like moving to Oregon, and that plan fell through and whatever. But I love the Pacific Northwest. I will definitely work there at some point. They have a lot of part-time contracts with arborist stuff, and they are in need of people with my credentials and tree risk assessment and stuff like that. And I've turned down about 15 job offers this year alone already to work in California and Oregon. but they're like 6 months I'd be away from my family and stuff like that. So I can't do that, but I do want to do that in the future. Loosely related, have you watched Soul yet? If so, what do you think? Awesome question. I fucking love that movie. My kids love that movie. It has created awesome conversations. Like more than any of the religious school nonsense that we've sent our kids to talk about souls and afterlife. It's brought up. I've been able to talk simulation theory with my kids. Well, not my youngest kid. I mean, he just is like, the blue guy's funny, you know, but with my 12-year-old son, or he's about to be 12. But oh man, that movie is great. Soul. I'm not a big Disney animated movie person, but that one is really good. Really good. I think it funnels people, like kids, down that thought of like afterlife without, you know, the whole like religious tilt, you know, like it helps the understanding of like, there was something before this, you know, like, and that there's something afterwards, but we don't know what. But that's not what's important. What's important is right now. Like that's what I got from that movie, and yeah, I love that movie. Our Russian friend, I don't know how to pronounce your name there, but OMG, you understand approximately half of what you hear your Russian buddy try. Well, hey, I appreciate you trying. I don't think I could watch a Russian YouTuber rant about stuff in another language. K-Dad said, Ruben's always giving me FOMO about crypto, but from the outside, it feels like such a maze. Like I would get burned or scammed instantly. That's what they want you to think, you know, and you know, that's the progression of everybody that's in crypto, is like, once you get over that wall and you dive in, and then you just start focusing your attention on that, like it just all starts to make sense. I don't understand the fucking technical component. Like I understand the parts of it that resemble traditional banking. It's the same shit, you know, and like it's just denominated in another currency. But then, you know, you start unpacking that and you're like, holy fuck, I don't know what the fuck it is, but I think I'd be stupid not to have some of it, you know. And that's basically it. Like, it is a maze. The rabbit hole goes deep. It goes all the way deep to fucking the stock value of GameStop. Like, that's how deep the fucking Bitcoin rabbit hole is. And so like it goes, so the Bitcoin rabbit hole goes so deep that you start finding out that Nancy Pelosi in December, right after like the election, put in a ton of fucking call options. So I talked about shorting at the start, which is selling, you know, betting a stock will go down. Call options are betting it will go up. And she put in a ton of call options in Tesla. And then as soon as Biden, like the first week Biden's president, he announces that they're going to transition all of the government fleet of vehicles to electronic cars, you know, basically winning the bet for Nancy Pelosi. Like, you know, I wouldn't pay attention to that. I wouldn't understand what any of that meant if I didn't start going through the Bitcoin maze, you know. And I wouldn't, regardless of the maze, you know, and I felt like I would get burned or scammed. There's been several times where I fucked up the technical components and thought I lost my crypto forever. I've uploaded a picture of me with holding my passport on some exchange out of Asia that doesn't even exist anymore and wasn't even in English. Like, so stupid shit, right? But I didn't know that was a big deal until I went through the Bitcoin maze. Was like, whoo, that was a bad idea. You know, there's someone out there, you know, pretending they're me in Asia. I guess I don't know what the complete ramifications of that are, but still, it's like, it's all a fucking learning process. And then I got my ass handed to me in 2017 when I was just all full of greed and was like, I fucking made it, boys, and like, instead of paying off debt, racked up debt because I was going to be a millionaire. What does it matter? You know, that kind of thing. And so I did get burned. I did get scammed because I invested a ton of money in something called Dubai Coin because their narrative was that Dubai is going to be this like blockchain only country, and like they created their own cryptocurrency. I was like, I'm putting all my fucking money in that. Not all of it, but I put a ton of money into it. It turns out it was just some dudes in Holland that created it, and Dubai had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. And so like you do get burned and scammed. And I could have tucked my tail in between my legs and went away, but I didn't. I was like, woo, I've lost this fucking game twice, because the first time I started learning about money was because I got underwater in my mortgage from the 2008 crisis and was like, what the fuck game? I owe more money to the bank than this house is worth? That makes no sense, And I was like, how did I fucking lose this game? I didn't know I was playing. And so I, started learning. Same thing happened. That led me to Bitcoin and crypto. And I was buying Bitcoin. Then I was like, well, all this other stuff's going up faster. I need this stuff. And then I started on the shitcoin train, and I got burned and was like, what the fuck game was I just playing that I lost again? I got to learn what this game is, And so, it's all learning, and you just got to grow from every fucking mistake. Like I used to think when I'd hear like stock guys and investment guys say like, I've lost and earned $100 million 10 times in my life. And I've been like, how the fuck does that happen? I get it now. Like, cause you learn from that every time, and you learn how to take the next opportunity. And so that's the maze. The maze has a bunch of dead ends with crypto, but it's still a maze you want to be in. Yeah, it's scary for sure. And you need to start small. That's what Malarkey said. Yeah, that's right. Ascension Chronicles. Morning, bro Ruben. Everybody, first time listening. Welcome. Thank you. Malarkey, I'm a fan of the shit coins, but definitely respect the Bitcoin love. Yeah, I mean, the shit coins, as long as you're looking at it as like, the shit coins are for profit. The shit coins are, and it's a Ponzi. Well, not a Ponzi scheme. It's a pyramid scheme. Don't get me wrong. But everything in life is a pyramid scheme. Housing is a pyramid scheme. Inflation, everything's a pyramid scheme. But the thing is that shit coins, they will go up and then they will just fucking get destroyed. And some will hang on. Like after the last crash, Ethereum hung on. It's still going to be great. But this time last year, you could have been buying Ethereum for $70 or something. I mean, it was so fucking low, after being at $1,200, $1,300. So like somebody that believed in Ethereum lost, 90% of their fucking portfolio value. And if they were a believer and they bought more, well, then that was a good play. But it took 3 years for that to play out. So, and then like, the other shit coins, it's like you got to be tied into other little channels and know before it's gonna pump. If you start getting on the shit coin train, sorry, say that 10 times fast. You got to make sure you're at the bottom of the fucking S curve, otherwise, like you're just gonna get hit. To where Bitcoin's just always up to the right. It'll fluctuate, always up and to the right. I can't say that about any other coin. Like so much shit can come out that like just makes it like XRP looked like a great thing for a while. Now it doesn't. But there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it'll get cleared by the SEC and go up. So it's like, I don't like playing that game, Now the way I got out of debt, the way I've, accumulated the amount that I needed to pay off my fucking slave owners was with altcoins, Ether, ADA, Link, all of those. I've had those for a long time, way in profit. And I can't bring myself to sell Bitcoin or spend it. I've bought a hardware wallet with Bitcoin, and I bought my computer from Stan with Bitcoin. And other than that, any Bitcoin I have bought, at least in the last 2 years, I have not gotten rid of for any reason. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. If I need cash, I will borrow against it. And other than that, it is a buy and hold game. And I've definitely got my investment out of everything now at this point. I know it's probably stupid to sell at the same time I'm telling people to buy, but it's just because like it's a long-term thing. You got to watch a cycle. You got to hold, you got to know, like it's a learning process. Nobody's ever going to tell you the right moves. The right moves are for you. And that's the right move for me, is like getting that fucking monkey off my back. And then it's up and to the right forever from there. So, yeah. Oh, Matt said it hit you hard in the best way. Yeah, the Soul movie. Yeah, it's awesome. I was going to ask if anyone noticed at the 1330 mark when the blue guy explains his coming together and becomes a geometry that's DMT as fuck. Yeah, no, the whole the architect people, like that was so fucking psychedelic as shit, and simulation theory as shit. Like it was awesome. And that's the stories or the questions I've had with my son. Like my son asked you where they said like, we're just a theoretical representation of what you'll understand. And like, he asked like what that was. And it was a good conversation we had. Robert, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? What you can't understand is what drives demand for crypto. It seems almost arbitrary. So, the demand for crypto comes from different things, and it's a microcosm of all markets. It's a sped up, fucking unregulated. Like this happens all the time in financial cycles. So, like the long term, there's a book theory. I haven't read the book yet. I've read parts of it. Haven't read the whole thing. Called The Fourth Turning, and it's how like over generations, every 3 or 4 generations, there's this evolution of the cycle of the economy and stuff like that. The fourth turning takes like 100 years, for all 4 turnings or something like that, or it might even be longer. But anyway, crypto, that happens every year is a turning almost, and so the 2017, when our friends and stuff like that got into it, that was a greed bubble where everyone's like, hey, here's a way to get rich overnight, right? And a lot of people did, but depending on when you caught onto that message, you didn't get it. What's driving the demand for it now is fear of inflation, and everybody's like, I've got all this money. What the fuck? What's going to happen here if they're just printing it and sending it to everyone and all this stuff, and like the asset prices, fucking dead companies, $350 a share. What the fuck? Everyone's like, what's real? What's hard? And so it's always been gold. That's what people have went to. That's the inflation hedge. But the thing is, it's like that's like investing in vinyl records when everyone's obviously streaming music. Gold is very analog. And so that's why the narrative of Bitcoin being digital gold, right? Is that you can spend it, you can save it, you can move around with it the same way you can your bank account or any other asset that is digital, except it's not issued by any sort of sovereign or ruling authority. And I don't know if Bitcoin is the coin that will be that, but in the sovereign individual, they kind of like lay out that the reason Bitcoiners read this book is because it lays out that like as we go into the information age, there will be just money on the internet that nobody has control over. And the whole book is this thing showing why that's going to be the case, and that like the sooner that you take yourself off the financial grid and become part of that internet money, the more individualistic the rest of your life can be. So I think that's what's driving it now, is this fear of the fucking system. The next bubble to come is going to be the jubilation bubble of like, the virus is gone, we can travel, we can do this, everything's gonna go fucking through the roof. We're gonna have the roaring 20s again. I mean, we are playing out the cycle from the last huge world pandemic to a T. Well, not to a T, because there's obviously a lot of different shit going on. But still, the roaring 20s came after the Spanish flu. And so the next bubble is going to be everything does well, but crypto's definitely going to do well because it just did well when we were having a bad time. It's going to do great when we're having a great time. The real test will be the depression after that. The depression and the war that comes after the roaring 20s. I don't know what's going to do good in that situation, but I do think at that point, the network effect and everything will be so incorporated with Bitcoin that Bitcoin is the macro term right now that people are using is the life raft out of the system. It's opting out. So that's the demand for Bitcoin. The demand for all other cryptos is, there is investing in the tech and liking the idea, but for the most part, it's people that think Bitcoin's too expensive and they're trying to like leapfrog the levels to get more Bitcoin, to get more money, to make profit off of this crazy unregulated free market. So I think there is a need for a lot of the other cryptos. There's a need for what they're trying to do on a network level, but there isn't necessarily a need for their coin or their token that's getting traded. And that coin or token is essentially the stock of the company. And I think that the crypto market in the future is just going to be like a stock market. It's just that you can self-custody your shares in that company. You have the functional piece of the company and a share of the company, and you hold it yourself. You don't need a middleman. You just need an exchange. But other than that, it's pretty decentralized. So that's the demand for crypto. The demand for Bitcoin, it comes from all different areas. People come into it for greed and fear and investment in, just following the herd, or whatever. But it's not really arbitrary. I wouldn't say it's arbitrary. It seems it now because it's only a thing that's existed for 10 years, but all it's done in that 10 years is fucking completely reshape the financial world and shake a lot of shit to its core. So I mean, that's not arbitrary to me. Bitcoin is the best performing asset in the world by far over the last decade. That's not arbitrary. When that guardian entity turns into geometry, I absolutely loved it. Yeah. That I can't love that movie more. It's awesome. Robert, all I really care about is I can't afford a damn GPU because miners are driving prices into oblivion. Yeah, it's not going to change, man. Like, I don't know. There might be a different way to mine in the future or whatever, but isn't Bitcoin like a national panic index? It is. It's a panic index. It's a greed index. It's a libertarian index. It's a people that want to be unbaked. It's everything. That's what I mean is like that decentralized thing. All paths lead to Bitcoin. I can connect anybody who is disenfranchised from the fucking standard, broadcast from the system. There is some path out of that, and it leads to Bitcoin and blockchain and Satoshi Nakamoto. And if you want to call that a cult, yes, I could be biased. I know I'm biased. But why wouldn't I be? I just told you everything that it's done for me up to this point. Like, it could come out tomorrow that it's fake, and it doesn't matter. It's fucking done what it's done. Epic, life-changing shit for me. And I'd be willing to bet that it would do it for anybody else, even at this point, as long as they do the growth on the outside of it all and aren't focused on the dollar value and the money and everything like that. And they learn all the other aspects of individualism, basically, but just like freedom, spiritually, physically, mentally. It's all about that, you know. And so there is the panic that leads to it. There's the jubilation that leads to it. There's the greed that leads to it. There's the, you know, like, that seems pretty interesting. I'll throw $100 at it. There's that leads to it. There's the people that like are really into fucking cryptography. They were in it first. They saw where this was going as a tech thing, even if they didn't understand the economics and the social component of it. But there's just so many roads that lead to like, holy fuck. And that's why, like, seriously, I had heard of Bitcoin, but it was just because of buying drugs online. And I was like, I should get some of that to do that. But I'll just try to find someone that I can PayPal them the money. I don't know why I need to buy this shit and get this wallet or whatever. And then I had a mushroom trip and I had this vision of fucking trade routes and like the like money as an energy, like, and how it evolved with humans and how value is an energy in the universe, you know, and that money represents that. That's what we've had to represent it. And then it just keeps going. And the trade routes, I just saw all these trade routes across the world and it formed this web of like mycelium around the world. And I snapped to, and I fucking said out loud, Bitcoin. And I've seen that happening, like that fucking hallucination or whatever you want to call it. That's what's happening. Pog, by the way, regarding the subject of bundle flower from the Discord, the Gordo tech seems super safe because Gramine doesn't get solved in naphtha. Yeah, that's what I thought when if we're talking about DMT extraction from a plant that's pretty easy to get the seeds, because I know like you can't do Mimosa hostilis, like they're kind of watching that and like you can't get it. So a plant that also has DMT in it, called the Illinois bundle flower, or prairie mimosa, that the root bark has DMT in it, but there's also a thing called gramine that can be toxic. And if you, the Gordo tech, where you dissolve it in naphtha, when you dump the naphtha out, the gramine will be in there. So, or well, whatever. I don't really know the extraction technique. That's something I was saying I was going to look into. That's how we got on that discussion. But Illinois bundle flower is very much used in prairie restoration. And so I've planted billions and billions of those seeds. I know all these different spots where there is fields of bundle flower. And we were talking about extracting DMT. And I was like, I think I'm, maybe when I'm talking about psychedelics and I can't do them because I don't have enough time or whatever, we were like, yeah, well, that's why DMT, or whatever. So like, I might be starting to go down that route. I don't know. At first I'm going to try to extract it and see, but I will even if I do extract it anytime soon, I'm probably going to stare at it for a year until I get up the balls to smoke it. But yeah, bundle flower. What was I can't remember the Latin name, but Robert said, I see what you're saying. It's just that it's impossible to evaluate like a stock. There doesn't seem to be any way to reliably determine if it's over or undervalued. Exactly. Because I guarantee it's undervalued, but it's also overvalued at times, but it is impossible to evaluate like a stock. There's never been anything like this. You can explain Bitcoin as a currency, as like we do with coins and euros and dollars and whatever. You can explain it as real estate, right? If everything's going digital and virtual and whatever, like money is going to be a layer on the internet. It already is, but there's all these different, conversions and middlemen and stuff like that. If it was just a layer on the internet that everyone had a little piece of, and they were trading back and forth. That's how real estate worked before everything was developed. People bought huge tracts of land and sold some, and then that eventually sold, and we've just been like trading this land that was there. So in the digital virtual realm, Bitcoin can be that real estate. And if that's the case, then the pyramid scheme that has been real estate is going to continue, right? Like this house was probably $20,000 when the first person that bought it, and it's, going up since then. We're going to sell it for more than we bought. Whoever bought it from us is going to sell it for more than they bought. And so Bitcoin's going to continue that ride. And as long as it remains scarce and you can't make more of it, it will always go up forever. The problem lies with the other currencies is that there may be more, the rules can change at some point. And if that's the case, then it's always speculation. And it's always going to be, maybe it's a little high. Maybe it's overvalued. Maybe it's undervalued. Maybe no one ever uses this network other than for what they're, trading right now or whatever. And so all other coins could be undervalued or could be overvalued. But I think that Bitcoin is, if everything stays true of what has happened the last 10 years, if you just take it 10 years at a time, it is always going to go up over 10-year time frames. It'll go up and down in between. And so you got to put on your trader hat and be like, oh, the relative strength index shows that that'll be a good time to buy or whatever. It doesn't matter. If you're just buying $100 a week, I don't give a shit what the relative strength index is. I don't even look, like with Swan Bitcoin, I don't even look at the price when I actually buy it because it just auto does it. So because I know if this is a 10-year thing, if it's a 20-year thing, whatever, if I'm right about where it's going in the future, every price from now until the future is undervalued. And so there's no, it's uncharted waters because it's a stock, it's a commodity, it's an asset, it's real estate, it's currency. It's a stake on like or it's part of the process or the computing network of the world's largest decentralized computing network. It's a portion of that. It's a stake in that. It's a fuck, I lost my train of thought there. It's a I can't think of what I said. But anyway, I mean it's nobody's ever had anything like this. You can't say if it's undervalued or overvalued. And everything's only worth what people are willing to pay. And I mean, I've had so many people back when it was $20,000 be like, yeah, right, it's not going to fucking ever be worth more than that. Yeah, good luck with that, the kind of thing. And now it's worth double what everyone told me was the top of the bubble. And I mean, not to mention, it's one Bitcoin always equals one Bitcoin. Try to remember that. One Bitcoin always equals one Bitcoin. The dollar value, that says way more about the dollar than it does the Bitcoin. Because there's people that like talk in sats and like, they're like, I'll send you some sats and whatever. All these apps that like, I have a debit card that earns Bitcoin rewards. It's all in sats. Square Cash is all in sats now. They're trying to get that idea of the Satoshis because like, that's what is going to be denoted on websites when there's dual currencies and you can pay with Bitcoin or dollars or, whatever currency. It's going to be sats because a Bitcoin is going to be so expensive that everyone's going to be dealing in sats. So yeah, I don't know. I don't mean to just be sitting here arguing with Robert. I obviously we've had discussions before, but I like the way you look at things and everything like that. So I'm not arguing with you, and you make valid points too. And like I said, like I've tried any of the trepidation you have. I've went through everybody that seems to know what they're talking about, that has the same trepidation. And I can't. Maybe I'm so fucking blind and biased to this that like I just don't want to even believe a reality that it's not true. But the thing is, the reality is it did fucking work for me. So like, why would I say like, oh, it worked for me, but it's not going to work for you guys? Like, I believe that, I may be wrong. I don't know. I wasn't wrong until this point though. So there's no reason to believe like, woo, I got out just in time. Like it's a fucking thing. That's why I believe so strongly in it. Maybe you're just too new and people are still hitting the greed button, and they always will. Greed will always be there, and greed brought me in. Fear kept me around, and belief is going to keep me around, from here forward. The larger cycles you're describing and the self-sovereignty, individualism, spiritual self-belief, very interesting. Ascension Chronicle said, yeah. It's my theory of everything. Like, and again, to go back to my first YouTube video, the mission statement of the channel, shit like that. You got to wake yourself up and then start waking everyone else up and help, and that's the individuality is like, I'm no good to anybody else if I'm no good to myself first. And so like, that's been my whole thing with crypto and everything else is like, I need to be free. I need to grow to have my most potential, but then I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, fuck everyone else. Then the next step is like, help everyone else, and so that's my like nonprofit thing I was talking about. I don't know when you popped in, but the camp and getaway wilderness, whatever nonprofit place that I'm trying to create. That's what it's all about, is to share, to pay it forward, basically. But you need that individualism, you need that sovereignty, and that spiritual freedom to be able to do stuff like that. Sam Cosmic just dipped your toes in recently. Got to learn more. Yeah, dude, that's it. 4 years from now, you'll be able to talk about this shit like I am. And it takes that dipping in. Once you got skin in the game, then there's reason to focus on it. There's reason to learn about it. There's reason to learn and figure out stuff for yourself. It's hard to do that from the outside. Like you just, like people that are paying attention to markets, they totally understand the GameStop thing I was talking about at the start. But people from the outside are like, what the fuck's going on with GameStop, or whatever. But like, you totally get it if you're in the game. Do I think that Ripple will recover from the SEC lawsuit? Yeah, probably. I mean, people haven't lost faith in it. And so what? If it's a security, they've got enough money to pay the fines. And there's plenty of exchanges that are going to become registered security exchanges, and they'll be able to have it, and it'll probably blow up for a minute. But that's the thing. Like the lawsuit, the more damaging thing to them than the lawsuit was what was in the lawsuit was saying that like only 1% of all XRP traffic was actually banks using it and stuff like that. And so the US is going to fight XRP harder than Bitcoin because they can. First off, you can bring them into court. You can't bring Bitcoin into court. And if you watch the timeline, they sued XRP, got them kicked off of exchanges or suspended. And then we're like, hey, all banks can deal with crypto stable coins on the Ethereum network, and that can just bypass SWIFT. They fucking got the competition out of the way and then regulated and approved their competitor. That does two things. First off, like, it's, banks can register their own cryptocurrencies and they're $1, and like it gets rid of the need for them to use XRP. It gets rid of the need to use the SWIFT system, which, obviously the network effect has been saying we don't like the SWIFT system for banking. But then also it kind of secures the dollar being the reserve currency being used by banks. So Ripple will recover and it'll be a traded fucking shit coin and there'll be stuff about it and they'll have partnership announcements and do all this. But I think the US just trampled like any ability for XRP to actually do what they say they're going to do. Like their narrative's kind of fucking crushed, but they'll still be pumping up. People will still make money off of it and stuff like that. Bundle flower grows here, but it takes a ton of plants to get enough root bark. Extraction is typical extraction. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a little plant. You know, when you talk about Mimosa hostilis root bark, that's a big fucking tree. So bundle flower is like a little, well, I mean, not that tall, but I mean, it's just a little thin plant. Imagine the roots are pretty small, or I know they are. I mean, I've looked at it, but that's what I was saying is like when I brought it up in the Discord and I was talking about it, it was seriously, I know where there's acres of this fucking shit. So Malarkey said Bittrex. Oh, I guess Bittrex is a crypto exchange for whoever was asking. I guess that makes the only sound strategy to buy and hold. And you mean for a long time? The time frame is up to the person. What do you want out of it? You don't need to put all your money into Bitcoin, just what you want to keep. But you do need to go through a whole cycle. Like right now is awesome. This is the fun part. Next year sucks. unless the jubilation bubble in all assets keeps going. But the Bitcoin halving cycle has some lean fucking times in it. And but that lean time may be crashing from 150,000 to 50,000, and everyone's like, "Holy shit," or whatever. I don't know. I've been going at this for 4 or 5 years now, and I didn't recently get to the point where like, okay, I don't care what happens now. Like I got what I got into this for until now. But it's been a lot of learning and stuff like that. But I just think it's getting started too, and if you look at the news that comes out and the regulation and stuff like that, like obviously this is kind of getting baked into the financial system at this level too, so the volatility may be gone, but right now with Bitcoin, the risk reward ratio has never been better because it's a lot easier to get in. It's a lot harder to get scammed. There's a lot more information. There's a lot more data to go off of. And the fact that Bitcoin has not been mentioned in a presidential campaign yet, right? Shows we aren't there yet. That might be the peak. That might be the jump the shark when someone's up there and is like, we're going to, divert funds into Bitcoin mining to make America great again, for the digital economy or whatever. When that happens, then that might be the peak. The volatility might be gone. But until then, the upside potential is asymmetrical. It could go to $1 million this year. The same thing we just saw with GameStop stock. That can fucking I can't say it can't happen in Bitcoin. I'm not saying that's not my price prediction for this year, but that could happen. Robert, and you said hold it until it becomes a more accepted currency for goods and services. I mean, that is the idea. Hold it till you don't need to sell it. But you also don't need to. All that stuff is there right now. The Strike app I was telling you about, or was talking about, you can use it anywhere. Like there's all sorts of debit cards, Square Cash app. I with my phone, I can just sell some Bitcoin right away, use my card to use it. Like right there, right in the store. They don't even know I use Bitcoin other than there's a Bitcoin logo on the card, and there's plenty of that. But I'd say at least in the next 2 years, you're going to start seeing it on a lot of websites where it says, accept Bitcoin. I mean, you already do, but a lot of those are kind of fringe websites and stuff like that. But I think you're going to see it on Amazon, everything like that. You can use it. Well, I forgot PayPal. I mean, you can buy anything that has PayPal with crypto. It's not real crypto because you can't take it off of PayPal, but you can be exposed to that price fluctuation and spend it with PayPal. But I don't have any on there. I don't recommend getting it that way because, like I said, it's not real. Fold card. Oh man, that has changed. I used to. One reason I got in a lot of credit card trouble was because of the rewards and being like, oh, I get cash back or whatever, which is fucking stupid because all that does is just force you to spend more. Like if you have an Amazon card and you get Amazon points, you end up buying more shit on Amazon. Fold is like, I want to save the rewards, and over time, those rewards will actually cancel out any purchases that I made. Oh, shit. Robert, you're not arguing either. I've got some money invested in Bitcoin. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah. So you're just spreading FUD for no reason. Greed didn't bring you in, Malarkey. You bought one Bitcoin in 2013 because it was clear the current system isn't working. I believe the cryptos and the crash will burn with it if necessary. Nice, dude. I don't care about the money. I want stability and safety for my family. Yeah, dude, it's all about freedom and sovereignty. Yeah. And believing in the alts, they're part of the ecosystem. They are. I just don't know how that's all going to shake out. We got to get over the fucking transition, and then that'll shake out. Probably Ethereum will always be around. That's a pretty safe hold and stuff like that. But I can't say that about fucking anything else. Plan to get mostly out within 5 years and buy real estate. I love it. Sam Cosmic. Yeah, exactly. Learning by playing the game. Yep. Valentine Benitez, amazing live. Ascension Chronicles. Haha, keep it up. All right. Well, it's been an hour and 42 minutes, and I'm actually supposed to be working. I put my phone upstairs, so I don't know. I may be in trouble. But anyway, I felt like coming on early morning, sharing a cup of coffee with you guys. Great talk. Sorry. I mean, I know I'm back and forth all over the place about different topics when I'm going through the questions, but like I love the interaction with the chats, and feel free to send me in any direction you want whenever we do these. Got to have the bell clicked to know when I'm coming on, which you guys probably do, but anyone watching this afterwards, I will. I'll start messaging. I didn't know that you could post in in YouTube, so I said, going to go live in 3 minutes. So I'll do that. Post on the Discord, all that stuff. Make sure you're in the Discord. The link is usually in the videos. I think. I don't know. Anyway, you guys rock. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to my bullshit, and thanks for helping find the others. See you.